Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Last episode, we made our way to Oriokuiki. Oriokuiki? Whatever, the island of the Wahaki. Whatever. On our way there, we found evidence of the leaden key having been around here, so we took Aloth with us so we can find out more about that. Takehu is with us so that he can help us speak kindly with the natives, and it's time for us to actually go in and speak with the people in charge. Or a person in charge. Whatever. I said whatever a lot already. Let's go in and see what we can find. Let's see.
That mural. That's the same headdress Thaos wore.
Oh. The mural is quite faded, but you still recognize the distinct silhouette of Thaos Ix Arcanon.
Leave it to me.
The preparing table for burnt offerings reeks of spices and gore. The copper brazier reeks of ashes and burnt hair. A layer of soot and detritus lines the blackened concavity. Examine it. Among the ashes, you find charred fruit pits, scraps of parchment, shards of pottery, animal bones, and matted bundles of singed hair. Nothing else about the brazier stands out to you as interesting or relevant. What happens if we place a bomb in there? After taking stock of your inventory of explosives, you must decide which one to plant in the ash. You know what? We'll leave it be for now. It might be important, but we'll look around before we try anything with that. Okay. Anything down here? Not gonna steal. Not gonna steal. We're gonna be nice to him. Okay, various Wahaki around here. That is Meditation Chamber, Wahaki Shrine. We'll try the shrine later. Well, we found him. The broad-shouldered woman on the throne lifts her gaze to meet yours. White face paint adds a grim aspect to her stoic demeanor. Smoldering braziers fill the air with oppressive heat, but she sits at ease.
Her face paint. You don't suppose...
Ruasare turns her gaze to Aloth, who quickly falls silent. She returns her focus to you.
I am the Ranga of this tribe, and will not hesitate to send your soul through Tangaloa's maw if you threaten my people.
She steeples her fingers and watches your every move. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Ranga.
The chosen of Ngati is a welcome sight, I say.
She turns her attention toward Takehu with a pause of recognition.
Akara, my thanks to you, dear Ranga, though I bring you no omens this day.
Takehu inclines his head and touches a spot on his brow with 2 fingers.
You have the gift of our hospitality during this audience. Do not abuse it.
The studious-looking man to the Ranga's side scrutinizes you.
But will our hospitality be returned?
A trembling mystic consults a palmful of runes. The Ranga silences him with a look. Sitting forward in her seat, she opens her fist to reveal a plump kawiki fruit. She takes a deep and thoughtful bite.
Takehu, I say we have troubles enough without my people fighting over you.
Akara, just so. I will keep my hands to myself this time.
She nods, turning her focus back to you.
Mbeta softened his heart against outsiders. Akira, I will hear this one. The Queen sent you to remind us we are vassals. Is that all?
She sets the kawiki down on the armrest and opens her palm, inviting you to speak. Queen Onikaza II proposes an alliance with the Wahaki.
Queen, I am thinking you are very free with this meaningless outsider word. Foreigners hold the islands upside down, shaking them to loosen their riches. Onikaza gives them comfort. Akira, these are not the actions of a queen.
You don't think she's just biding her time?
Bah! Then she never should have let the foreigners take a step onto Deadfire soil. You think the Queen is cunning, but she is on the brink of losing her power.
Ruasari makes a disgusted, sweeping motion with her hand. You're falling for the same trap that the foreigners are, assuming that she's weak on the basis of appearance. Ruasari opens her mouth to speak out against you, but stops herself.
The Kahanka Queen shows her belly so that the enemy will overlook her claws. This is a worthy tactic. Valia and Rawatai are foolish enough to fall for it. Before I agree to Onakaza's terms, I must deal with a pest of my own. Not as large as the trading companies, but nearly as vicious. You are knowing that the purchase of foreign slaves is allowed in the Deadfire?
A shadow falls over Ruasari's eyes as she lowers her brow. Why only foreign slaves?
Trading in Huana is a crime that even Onakaza could not ignore.
Ruasari snorts, flaring her nostrils.
To buy and sell kith is the work of monsters. These slavers hunt the waters around Oreo Kuiki. Like cowards, they shy away from the deeper jungle.
In spite of Ruasari's hearty guffaw, not a trace of humor reaches her eyes.
They steal my people from their fishing boats and sell them like pigs at auction. Where is Onikaza to stop them?
Ruasari opens her arms and searches left and right.
Someone must teach them the meaning of Wahaki vengeance, I say.
And why do you need outside help for this?
Need? No. Want? Yes.
Ruasari narrows her eyes, crinkling her war paint into a predatory visage.
My people risk themselves enough. For someone to earn my favor, they must put the tribe first. They must risk everything for the Wahaki.
This isn't my fight. Allow me to consider.
This is a poor beginning. But I cannot compel you to action. Our enterprising foes clump together in a small fortress on the tip of Crooksburg Island, northwest of Nekataka. My love, Aparo, lost his sister to these creatures. Akira, more of us will vanish if we do not cut out the heart of Crooksburg. Tangara, call off the warriors. I grant our guest the freedom of the jungle.
Thank you.
Even though she does not commit to helping us, Aranga always has hope.
She tips her head in your direction, leaving something unspoken.
As you say, Ranga.
Tangara makes a discreet hand gesture toward the entryway, and a figure in the shadows scurries off.
If you would come and go on Oreo Kuiki, prove yourself a friend of the Wahaki.
She bites deeply into the Koiki and swallows it down without chewing. I had other questions. She wipes her hands and motions for you to go on. I came across a ravaged merchant ship not far from here.
Akira, outsiders know better than to draw close to Wahaki lands.
Her fingers ball into a fist.
We leave the symbol of the war club as we have for generations. A warning, I say. A reminder.
That war club looks like a much older version of the leaden key insignia.
Aloth leans close, whispering to you.
One which goes unheeded.
What's the significance of your face paint?
The Wahaki show outsiders that we know their deceitful face.
She spits on the floor.
My ancestor knew this face well. She recalled its every hateful curve to the Wahaki histories. We wear the bone-white grimace of our enemies and take power from it.
Do you recognize the name Thaos, or the leaden key?
I know only that they clang and clash like foreign names.
She frowns, yet something in her soul sparks like kindling held to a flame. There's an ancient presence there within its own memory. Let's read it. You reach into her soul, chasing that spark of recognition. You feel hundreds of births and deaths within her, forming and disappearing like bubbles in boiling water. You sift past them all, focusing your overwhelmed senses on the memory of a strange foreign man. When at last you seize it, you find yourself in the very same throne room, but the condition of the place and the memory of your host suggests that it is many, many hundreds of years ago, if not more. You are seated on the dais. A man is brought before you dressed in stifling black robes. He reminds you of a corpse dressed for a funeral. He reminds you of something else too, but one of your attendants leans in and interrupts the thought before you can follow it. She tells you that this is the man you asked to see, and that his people have been harassing yours. He calls himself Thaos Ix Arcanon. Explain yourself, stranger. He gives you a smile that sets your teeth on edge.
Your Excellency, I come to warn your people. Your presence among these ruins is an affront to the gods. You must remove yourself, lest you face the gods' wrath.
Indeed, the man is an even greater fool than you had been told. The gods surely take their time. We have lived here 200 years, and they have yet to raise an objection.
The timeline of the gods is not for mortals to understand. But even their patience shall wear thin, especially after this warning.
You certainly feel your patience wearing thin. Who is he, this foreigner, to send your people from their halls and homes? And who is he to tell your people, the survivors, about the wrath of the gods? What ungrateful guest to vex his hosts. Our ancestors built these places centuries ago. We will not leave. For a moment, his unctuous facade melts away, and he blinks at you and your attendants. You get the impression that your response has surprised him.
Your people cling tightly to their history.
His jaw is tight as he speaks. He swallows hard as if gulping something unpleasant.
But where are these designs among your arts? Where is the carved Adra in your wooden huts? These places were not built by the Huana, but by an ancient people from a distant land.
You knew he was a fool, but now you suspect he is a dangerous one. His words are a lie, but like the very best lies, they contain the shadow of truth. Everyone knows foreigners once lived among your people as guests. They have not been seen in 200 years. What prickles the back of your neck is the question of how he might know this, and why he brings it to you. The mural is in these places, and the stories of our ancestors tell it differently. How would you, foreigner, know our history better than our own grandfathers?
I have seen your murals, and I know that you will recognize this.
He produces a helm with two horn-like protrusions and a mask attached. He is correct, you do recognize it. Your guards and attendants gasp. The man, Thaos, smiles more broadly.
It was my people who built these places, and now I come before you bearing their warning.
At least that much is true. You turn to your guards. Seize him. Just as a look of surprise appears on Thaos' face, the ancient Ranga's memory skips ahead. You are looking at Thaos once more. This time, however, he and a score of robed men and women are bound amidst a heap of peat and wood. This time he is staring at you in disbelieving fury. You have gathered your people and told them that the foreigners before them are the same ones who came to the island centuries ago. And now your people are angry and frightened too, because every Wahaki remembers a story of how those foreigners abused the hospitality of their Huana hosts. So great was their iniquity that the gods destroyed the great city of Ukaizo and many others besides. Watch now as I wipe their stain from among us. Your people cheer. Thaos struggles and yells, but his words are drowned out. Let us never forget that this foreigner is a trickster, and his people a plague. Hundreds of Wahaki stamp their feet and beat the ground with the butts of their spears. Still, Thaos scowls and thrashes in protest. From this day forward, we must be vigilant. Let us root out such foreigners and keep our lands pure of their wickedness. The tribe cheers louder than ever. Young and old, Mataru and Raparu, all are united in purpose. A change seems to come over Thaos. The struggle leaves his body, and the rage departs his face. Good. Let him accept his end. One of your attendants offers you a torch. Throw it onto the pyre. You hurl the torch. The flames spread quickly. The foreigners scream as the fire advances. All except Thaos, who looks back at you with a strange smile of satisfaction. You pull back from the memory, and the gruesome scene evaporates around you.
Why do you stare so?
This Anguithan ruin makes for a cozy hideout.
Do not speak the name of those who felled mighty Ukaizo. Their spirits are unwelcome.
Ruasare narrows her eyes and studies you closely.
We do not hide. We are protecting a way of life that others would trample under their boots. The trading companies would strip the land that the gods gifted us and unmake the works of our ancestors. There is much to protect in the Deadfire. Too much for any single tribe.
She sighs, rolling her shoulder to release some of the tension. I understand that you've been hit hard by slavers. I also seek vengeance against them.
The enemy of my enemy is still an outsider, but a resourceful one.
She clucks her tongue on the roof of her mouth and considers.
You are knowing that the purchase of foreign slaves
Yes,
is
I'm
allowed
familiar
to
with the
buy.
practice.
These slavers hunt the... They steal my people from their need. My people. This is our end, my love.
Okay, farewell. So that's all we have there. Fortunately, we can still look around. This bowl is full to bursting with ripe koiki. It looks as if Ruasari's attendants stock it regularly to keep pace with the Ranga's appetite. Examine it. These koiki smell particularly sweet and pungent, likely owing to their growth in the deeper jungle. The smell overpowers the stench of the braziers, which suffuses the rest of the temple. Oh, now I think I get it.
Back there, with the chieftain. Did you see something?
I did. But now I understand. Those are ways to, cause damage to
I
them.
will hear you outside.
Very well, Aloth.
You look like you have something on your mind.
I read an ancient memory in Ruasari's soul and found a link to the leaden key. You tell Aloth about the past life you glimpsed in Ruasari's soul, about her long-ago meeting with Thaos, his warning about the ruins, her decision to execute him, and her mandate to the Wahaki to defend their territory from outsiders.
That's like what he told the Glanfathans. I'll bet he didn't expect they'd kill him for it. Would have loved to see the look on his face.
Then the Wahaki are the painted masks. They've been serving the Leaden Key's interests for 2,000 years without even knowing it.
Aloth blinks, working through the implications.
Though not, it seems, in the way Thaos intended.
He frowns, rubbing his chin.
People doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons for thousands of years without even realizing it. Doesn't get more leaden key than that.
What are you thinking, Aloth?
Belief is a curious thing.
He crosses his arms, settling back on the balls of his feet.
Once, the Wahaki believed they were guarding themselves against the Ingwithans, Thaos' people. Yet over time, they became hostile toward all outsiders.
A thoughtful furrow splits his brow. Stories and messages change. Thaos only had clarity about his because Wodika reincarnated him every time.
But don't you wonder if bearing that message was part of what made Thaos who he was?
He raises an eyebrow and falls quiet for a moment.
It's not just that the Wahaki misread Thaos' original message. It fundamentally changed them. They went from being a large and well-connected tribe to a much smaller one defined by isolationism.
And this has got you thinking again about the consequences of your intervention.
You see all the ninnying I suffer from this lad? Right sure 'tis rattle around in his noggin.
You know me too well.
His wry grin doesn't quite banish his air of melancholy.
I've been chasing the Leaden Key, trying to undo the harm they've caused. But what if I'm only making matters worse?
Private agony muffles his voice. His breath catches in his throat as the full weight of his words hits him.
Might I be to blame? Have I made a grievous mistake in getting involved?
Through his scars and lines and newfound purpose, you catch a glimpse of the Aloth you knew 5 years ago, scared, alone, and desperate for direction. You're responsible for the consequences of your actions, intended or otherwise. If you didn't try at all, you'd be responsible for the harm the Leaden Key continues doing. Consider how poorly Thaos understood the Wahaki. How much less do you understand the Leaden Key? No one can know everything, so we've all got to do the best we can with the resources we have. Thaos accomplished his goals, just not the way he originally planned. Your problem is looking for specific immediate results. You don't have to destroy the Leaden Key. Everything falls apart eventually, or you've got to answer that on your own. No one can know everything, so we've all got to do the best we can with the resources we have.
When you put it that way, mine does sound like a rather flimsy excuse, doesn't it? Perhaps it was naive to think I could dismantle a 2,000-year-old organization in a single lifetime. But it's worth it to try.
Just remember not to be too hard on yourself.
Indeed not. I've got Isilmir for that. The strange thing is, This whole ordeal has given me some sympathy for Thaos. Not that I condone his actions, of course, but I can't imagine he thought he'd destroy an entire generation either. Well, not in the beginning, anyway.
He clasps his hands and presses his lips together, trying to formulate a thought. When he opens his mouth again, he speaks as if he's choosing his words carefully.
What I mean to say is, he thought he was doing the right thing. Even at the end.
Then his example is a cautionary tale for you. We should learn from it.
A prudent suggestion. At any rate, it will be a relief to move forward. It was always too comfortable to leave the hard decisions to others. To simply follow along.
He cocks his head in reflection and inclines it toward you.
I only wonder now what sort of decision you'll have to make when we finally confront Aethys.
We'll find out when we reach him. No point in guessing.
A reasonable point. Anyway, thank you. This has lifted a great burden from my shoulders.
Then let's get going. Alright, so that conversation is had. Let's see if there's anything else around here to look at. So there is something hidden in here, but I can't get in there. I guess putting something in here is basically a way to set up another trap.
I would pray louder if it kept outsiders away from Oreo-Kawiki.
Barapo straightens his bearing and looks down his nose at you.
I say Ruasare would not like it if I denied you hospitality.
How do you and Tungara get along?
Poorly. He ventures away from our islands and invites the wrath of the gods, I say.
Buparo folds his arms and squeezes his shoulders.
May Ngati devour that outsider construct he dragged back with him.
And what's your role in the tribe?
I keep the gods at bay.
He touches his brow with a shaking hand.
The tribe balances on the edge of ruin, and my burnt offerings appease those who watch over us. Godlessness raised the green man, and the gods will put him back down, I say.
You think Gon's gonna set the final harvest upon us because of Kith's godlessness? Maybe. But ain't no god's gonna stop him.
She rubs the side of her jaw in thought.
Akira, this is why Outlanders do not speak the will of the gods for the tribe.
Barapo crosses his arms and smirks at Jody.
Oh, I'd say that statue has more than its share of God in it.
For what does your crew of misfits address me?
Barapo frowns at Adair and retreats back a step. And there may be one other person. There were 3 people in there. I've spoken to 1. Well, 2. There's Tungara.
Outsider. Unlike Barapo, I do not use this as a term of offense, I say.
Tungara gives you a pleasant smile.
We do not see many visitors on Oreo-Kawiki. Those who come, seldom leave.
You said that outsiders don't tend to leave Oreo-Kawiki?
They come asking our Ranga to show her belly and surrender. Instead, she shows them their guts at the end of a spear.
Tungara grins and makes a thrusting motion with both hands. What are your thoughts on Barapo?
How he fills our home with the stink of his burnt offerings.
Tungara wrinkles his nose and waves his hand in a dispelling motion.
A rational mystic burns incense or candles, but Barapo burns Kawiki, rotten meat, and bundles of hair. Nothing is spared his flame if it appeases the gods.
Barapo told me that your construct had fallen on hard times.
Akira, he talks too much. A valuable lesson about animancy, I say. There is quality and there is cheap, but never both.
That is true. Tungara sighs, patting one of his pockets to the jingling of a few shells.
The rust bucket does not follow my instructions and ignores my command words.
I could take a look at the construct for you.
I am appreciating the offer, but it is better if I learn how to operate my degraded friend. I would be a poor host if the ironclad thing decided to remove your skin.
He chuckles, but the humor doesn't quite reach his eyes. I've dealt with worse, believe me.
Akira, I can see that well enough from here. Here, the command words. They do me little good.
He passes you a tattered scroll and shrugs, smiling wanly. Most of this document is drafted in a careful official hand. Another author appears to have made several hasty additions. To our valued customer, on behalf of the dedicated staff of the Consignment and Salvage Clearinghouse, we should like to congratulate you on your recent purchase of one salvage refurbished construct. Per your contract with our licensed dealer, Remo Caldera, Salvage Maker 56221, payment of trade goods and undisclosed services has been accepted. We hope you are pleased with your order. Sincerest regards, Rowan Gjakon, Shipping Quartermaster, CASC. Dealer notes if any. Patrol Command Unreliable, Attack Command Unreliable, Guard Command Unreliable, see accompanying document for command words. Functionality highly dependent on pronunciation and emphasis. Good luck! The construct trembles and rattles, its vacant gaze wandering without purpose. Habit and routine are seemingly the only forces keeping it upright. So, there are, like, 3 possible ways that I could kill these guys without actually fighting the entire place. I'm not going to do this. That is a horrible idea. And I am not trying to kill all of them. So, that all explored and done. There's one other thing to look at, and that's to climb up there and see what the ruins are up top. I am curious. Take the lift down. I mean, it's possible this is also a way that you're supposed to sneak in to take care of things. But, again, I'm curious. Have someone study the cliff. It is studied. We found the things to climb up. You begin the climb, alternating your attention between your footing and any less obvious dangers. You narrowly avoid the crevasse supporting the wasp's nest and continue your ascent. You come upon a ledge that commands the cliffside. The outcropping looks like it could support an adult's weight, though it would take a nimble outdoorsman to plot a safe course. That'll be you, Adair! After scaling the cliff with a mountain goat's alacrity, Adair waves down at you and signals the optimal path up. You make for the summit of the cliff, panting from the exertion and grateful to find yourself once more on stable ground. Yes, this is a back way into the sanctum. Okay.
Why not?
So that's literally just a secret way into here to take care of things without other people seeing anything. Fair enough. Well, we can make our way down easily enough. Climb down, and there we go. So we can make our way out of here. Aloth was encouraged by the story of Thaos' unlikely victory. He seemed heartened to know that even his imperfect efforts regarding the Legend Key may mean progress. Okay, and that's the information there. So, we've now been through here, and we still need to take care of that. Of, whatever it's called. Crookspur. However, I think we should do some exploring and take care of what other things we can do first before we deal with Crookspur. Because why not? Exploring would be nice. I'm just gonna go get onto here. Plus we're near up here, whatever the hell is up there, so we can take a look at that. Alright. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. Next episode, I think we'll do some exploring around here, see if we can find more interesting islands and things. We'll deal with Crookspur later, because everything is leading to Crookspur. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chester44, also known as Fly. That is Laniara, Adair, Joti, Tekehu, and Aloth. I'll probably change that soon. This has been a Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, and I shall see you all next time.